In for Baccarat, and that goes in! Hugo Baccarat gives Flint City a 3-2. Buckley, the ball falls to Buckley. One-on-one with Etheridge. What a save!
Welcome into the first ever MSN All-State Media Day for girls soccer. Jonathan Turner alongside Dan Stickrat.
Ball comes in, a good head! 1-0! Shot, another save from Etheridge! Rebound, and it goes in the back of the net. The Bulldogs up 1-0! Burzma, but then for Vlasma! 3-0! Stewart Heiss with a shot! Upper 90 and in!
Effectively today here on the Michigan Soccer Network, we are launching our new division of player recruitment videos.
Mario Canoe now finds Sock. Finds Sock's got a left-footed banger. He shoots it! It's in! The Red Hawks equalize! All right, everybody, welcome into the MSN Tryout Show. We are talking club soccer tryouts. They're this weekend. Jonathan Turner alongside Dan Stickrat. And Dan, tryouts is one of the busiest weekends in club soccer in the state of Michigan.
Yeah, that is right, Jonathan. If you have anything to do with soccer in the state of Michigan, this is the busiest period of the entire year. You start with the tryouts. This Saturday and Sunday, over 230 clubs from across Michigan will be holding tryouts at various levels, down from the recreational level up through the higher levels for high school age students. And you have tens of thousands of kids hoping to be placed on various teams for the 2024-2025 school year.
And you know, we talk about this. You know, the question that comes up is club soccer worth it? You know, we have a lot of partners, and we're going to talk about our partners, our club partners here today on this show specifically. But is club soccer worth it? And I want to ask that question, Dan, because I think it's important, right? You know, I was talking the other day with a buddy of mine specifically about this. And, you know, yes, do I think club soccer is worth it? Is it worth it for every family? By no means. And what I mean by that, Dan, is that, you know, if the goal if the goal is, whether it's soccer or any sport for that matter, is just purely have fun, I don't know if club soccer is like where you want to be just to have fun, right? I think that if the goal is to go into an environment where fun is part of the equation, but competitiveness, there's an opportunity to be fundamentals, you know, the things that you're looking for, if fun is one of the top priorities, I don't think that club soccer is right for you. If it's in the mix, by all means, it's right for you. I don't know if you agree with me on that, Dan, but I think it's important for parents as they're about to embark on this journey of tryouts with their sons and their daughters that the understanding is clear when you're going into this. Fun should always be part of the conversation. But, you know, I always said this to my players when we played, is that fun will not supersede what our goals are.
Yeah, I mean, having fun, not just playing soccer, but playing any youth sport should be part of the equation. But if you are looking to advance in your particular sport, and we're talking about soccer specifically on this show, then yeah, there's more to it than just having fun. There's a lot that goes into these travel teams in various sports. In soccer, there's a lot of travel. Sometimes it's just across Michigan. Sometimes it's, you know, interstate, different states, Midwest, and even across the country. So there's a lot of time commitment. You know, and you may necessarily live next door to where your particular club is. There are student athletes who will travel quite a distance, 1, 2, 3 hours one way just to play for a particular club. So there is a commitment. It is year-round. There's a lot of dollars involved for a family. But, yes, the underlying root is you should have fun playing your sport. You should have fun playing soccer. You should have fun playing basketball, baseball, lacrosse, whatever the case is. But you have to understand that there's a lot more to it when you get involved on the club circuit.
And there's no question about that. And, you know, we had a chance to talk with a lot of players. And we talk with a lot of players who are successful, right? And have been successful in their careers, whether that be at the club level, high school level, the collegiate level, even the professional level, right? We've had those conversations time and time again. And the thing that when we talk with them about what their goals are and what they want to be able to accomplish on a soccer field, the level of frustration that can come from a player that's playing on a field with other players who don't necessarily share the same goals or aspirations, those things can hold back players. And I think it's important to talk about. Now, we're not talking about U10, right? We're not talking about U11, right? We're talking about as you start to get to that 12, 13, 14 years old, if you're going to continue on the path of any travel sport, whether that's soccer or the next, what is your goal? What is your plan? What are your ambitions? If it's just to go out and be competitive, okay. But if you don't have aspirations of playing at the next level or taking it, as far as you can, does that hinder your ability to be successful on that field? Does that play a factor, Dan?
Well, it can or cannot. I mean, because every individual is different. Every individual family is different. You do have to look at not just what you want to accomplish, say, in the next year. What do you want to accomplish long term? Is your goal just to play with your friends and climb up through the ranks and have fun, maybe win some championships or contend for championships along the way? Do you have aspirations of when you get into high school, do you want to play high school varsity ball? A sport like soccer obviously does offer more year-round programs for some of the elite players. Not all, but some of the elite players choose another path. They might play in, East Unella Girls Academy or MLS Next Academy if they have aspirations of something even higher. But you have to look at it. Each individual family has to sit down. What is the long-term picture here for my child or my children? Do they want to just play on their community rec team and have a good time? Hey, we might win a state cup title. Or is my aspirations to one day be a professional athlete or play at a Power 5 conference school at the Division I collegiate level, or play at the collegiate level altogether? There's so many things you have to sit down, and talk about. And there's a lot of clubs in Michigan. I believe I was told earlier this school year there's like 230-something clubs of various sizes. And Michigan's a pretty big state, even when you account the Upper Peninsula has a couple dozen clubs now. So you have to sit down and think, what is the best situation for you? What is the best club for you? What is the best situation that will help you get to where you want to be, say, in 3, 4, 5, 6 years down the road? You have to look at all these factors, and then you have to set up a pathway, like once you are in that situation, what are the next steps as you take as you get older?
Yeah, and I think that the coach today, and again, the soccer world and the environment, everything about the culture has changed dramatically over the years, obviously because, it's more mainstream, right? When we were growing up, Dan, club soccer was not as mainstream as it is today. I mean, there weren't 230 clubs. There might have been 10. It might have been 15 clubs throughout the state of Michigan back in the early 90s and early 2000s. But now, you said there's 230-plus clubs. So, I'll be the first one to probably admit to this, and I'm sure clubs on some level would admit to this too, is that they want an informed parent coming to tryouts. They want an informed player coming to tryouts because I can tell you this right now, no one wants a headache. Nobody wants a headache. And I regardless of how big or how small your club or how big or small your team is, nobody wants a headache. So the reality is, moms and dads, players out there, if the question is how do you prepare for tryouts? One is understand what you're going to get yourself into. Understand the club, the culture, what they're trying to accomplish. Again, not all clubs are created equal and not all clubs offer the same things, right? There are different levels within each club that you can get into. There's a lot of things that go into it. So understand your options. Know what club makes the most sense for you. And a lot of times that might be based on your location because, again, you don't want to necessarily travel 4 hours to go to training sessions. But there are teams out there, there are players out there and parents that will drive their kids 3 hours to training and back again. And obviously that might be at a different level than what we're even talking about here. But how do you prepare for this? How do you prepare for tryouts? One is, I think, like anything else, and I know that they probably want to stick away from the word tryout. I've been reading a lot of articles about this lately, Dan, and specifically, how do you prepare for tryouts? Well, do you really, in fact, call them tryouts, right? Because obviously there's open house. And open house is an opportunity for those who maybe aren't familiar with that club to come in a training kind of a session environment and really kind of see how the coach interacts with players, and really an opportunity, just like if you're going to walk into an open house in the real estate world, right? You're looking around to kind of see what the house might look like. You're getting a feel for it. Hey, could I live here? The same kind of concept with open houses at tryouts. And those are all happening right now. They started on Monday. They'll end on Friday, leading up to tryouts on Saturday and Sunday. So it's like you're giving yourself an opportunity to do a test drive. If you were going into a car dealership, you're taking it for a spin. And it's an opportunity for players who maybe are with other clubs to go out and maybe kind of, see what the other side might look like. And that doesn't necessarily mean, that it's going to be greener, right? Especially during this time period, because clubs and coaches are all trying to do the best they can to fill their teams. And so there's some selling that goes into all of this, right? So prepare yourself for that. Prepare yourself for the fact that you're going to go try out for a team that you may or may not make. Prepare yourself for the fact that there's going to be some happiness and some tears that might be shed this weekend. Be prepared, to be in shape. If you haven't been running around and haven't been training, you're going to need to go do that prior to tryouts as best you can. Have a water bottle. And I would say this, if you're looking to stand out with your coaches, right, let's be honest. You're trying to make a team. It's like a job interview. There's 75 kids showing up today. How are you going to stand out? You walk up to your coach, you introduce yourself, you shake their hand. Hi, I'm John. It's nice to meet you. I play forward. You don't need to go up there and be like, give them your full-on resume, but no, you shake their hand, you look them in the eye and say, hey, I want an opportunity to make this team. You know what I mean? That's what you do. That's how you prepare. Moms and dads, you sit back and let it happen. You don't go up there to the coach and be in their face, because I'll tell you this right now, coaches don't like that. Coaches want to do their thing, and they're going to come over and talk to you, but let them come to you. Don't go to them,
I would agree with that, because there's one thing you can talk to a coach in any sport at any level. The one thing they cannot stand the most is parents butting in the middle of a tryout or practice session. A lot of them had that 24-hour rule. You used to coach, Jonathan. You know what it's like, where if a coach isn't happy about something, give them 24 hours to simmer down before they contact their coach. But tryouts are a busy weekend. You figure 230-plus clubs trying to figure out different teams from, recreational U6 and U7 level all the way up through, high school level kids. And, we're down in Metro Detroit, so we're at our Shelby Township studios. There's dozens and dozens of clubs here just in the Tri-County area alone. So a lot of these athletes are trying to pick a club that is somewhat close to where they reside. I get that. Sometimes it's the right choice. Sometimes it might not be. But you look at the rest of Michigan, especially like north of Midland, where you get up into, Gaylord, Traverse City, Petoskey, Alpena, up in the Upper Peninsula. There's not as many clubs up there.
Yeah.
There's not as many club soccer. There's not as many travel baseball teams. There's not as many travel in any type of sport, AU basketball, whatever the case is. So not only are parents from those areas looking at these factors, they're also looking at travel. Like, if my child lives in Gaylord and I want them to play in a really good travel team, say I have a son that plays baseball and a daughter that plays soccer, I might have to drive down to Midland or Bay City or down to Mount Pleasant to try to find a quality club soccer team. The people up there have fewer choices up where they live, so sometimes they do have to travel. There are some towns out there, and I've talked to some high school coaches, like there really isn't even a club program in their town. They all have to travel.
Yeah, it's a great point, and again, that's how you prepare, and it's no different than if you were trying to try out for your high school soccer team or your high school. Again, being prepared. Again, I can't tell you how important it is for a player to walk up to a coach and say, "Hi, my name is John. I'm excited about this opportunity. I am here. I'm coachable, whatever it might be, but make yourself stand out." And obviously, I'll tell you this right now. There are coaches out there that will take players that don't have the same skill set as another player because they're confident, because they're coachable, because they have a great work ethic. The one things that we looked for in tryouts as a club coach and as a high school coach when I was doing it was players that didn't give up. Even if it meant you walked, you didn't stop and check yourself out. You kept going. Those things are the intangibles that coaches are looking for. And I don't care what club you go to. All coaches want that kind of a player on their team. So that's how you set yourself apart, moms and dads and players alike. And then, as we dive into this, know your options before you sign. Again, you talked about this, Dan. It's travel soccer. So each club now puts out team sheets for each team at that age group that tells you, hey, what the likelihood of the tournaments that they're going to go to, the cost associated with the entire year. And those costs could change based on tournaments and things like that. But understand, don't go, if you want to go on 30 family vacations this year, which some people like to go on a bunch of vacations, go camping and all that kind of stuff, and go on Disney World trips and things like that. If you think that you can't commit to 90% of what that team's going to do, then don't sign up for that team. You know what I mean? Don't, because these players are counting on each other to go out there and be competitive, right? So know your option, know what your plan is, know what you're doing, and make sure that you are putting your child and your family in the best possible situation. And again, if you can't make that commitment, it's one of those things where it just becomes that much more troublesome, because now people are frustrated because, John is not coming to practice, John is not coming to games, and they have to constantly be rostering players from other teams to fill in when you can't make it. And so that's an important thing. So understand your options, understand your commitment, and before you sign, make sure that you have done everything you can to verify that what's about to happen is going to happen. And the beauty about this is that if you're at the high school level, Dan, is that a lot of times, if it's not an all-year-round program like ECNL or Boys or Girls Academy, typically it's a half a season, right? You're half a year. So your boys, well, they sign up for tryouts right now, but they don't do anything until next spring. Or in the winter, right, when high school season is over with. So that means that there's no rush, right? You can go to tryouts, and they're I can tell you right now, most clubs are looking for high school boys from tryouts through November. They even have tryouts again in November because they know the complications with the fact that there's nothing going on for the next 4 months. I'm not telling you not to sign up. What I'm saying is that you don't have to go rushing to make a decision if you're not comfortable. Put yourself in the situation that is best for you and your family and your son or daughter. Open houses are this week, this Monday through Friday, at all locations across the state of Michigan for all clubs. Again, no one can sign, and this is from the MSYSA, not a single player can sign up for a team, sign on the dotted lines, give deposits, do anything until Saturday morning here, June the 8th. So if that's happening, I'm not sure what they call that, but that's not within the guidelines of the governing body of the state association. So that's an important factor. Tryouts begin this Saturday and Sunday, and we'll dive into all of that. But Saturday and Sunday, get ready. It's going to be a great weekend of trying out here across the great state of Michigan. So we went to clubs throughout the state of Michigan and said, hey, we'd love to talk with you about your team, about your club. And the clubs here that are on your screen are the ones that responded to us here in the time in which we were able to get things rolling here with the show. We tried to get a number of the clubs, as you can imagine, on camera to talk about tryouts, what sets them apart, things like that. But, just because of timing and whatnot, they just weren't able to do that. But Vardar has been around for a long time. And Dan, when I was playing, Vardar was the Vardar and the Wolves back in the day, for me, in the 90s, early 2000s, they were the clubs that you were trying to beat, right? They were, if you weren't on them, they were the ones that you were aspiring to beat and be, and all the above. And Vardar, which has MLS Next, as well as does the Wolves, Vardar has been around for a long time, and they do a fantastic job with their players. Their open house is obviously this Monday, June 3rd through Friday, June 7th. They're at the Oakland University Dome for all their open houses. Their tryouts will take place on June 8th and Sunday, June 9th at Avondale High School here in Avondale, in Auburn Hills, Michigan. Their age groups are again U6 through U18, U19, and they have done a fantastic job over the years of really, I think, being one of the premier clubs here in the state of Michigan.
Yeah, I graduated from high school in 1990, so I think back to the late 80s, early 90s when I was in college. Vardar and the Michigan Wolves were two of two of, if not the best two clubs in Michigan in terms of success at the state and national level. And they're still, turning out very high-quality teams. A lot of very good athletes are still coming up through the ranks of those two programs. Obviously, things have expanded a lot in the last 34 years. We have over 230 clubs statewide, and, the sport continues to grow, continues to expand. But Vardar's been one of the staples. I mean, you used to hear the word Vardar, you would think about some of the national championship teams that their club had produced back in, say, the 90s.
Yeah, no, there's no question about that. And to learn more about Vardar, to get to their tryouts and register, you're going to head over to vardarsoccer.com. Again, it's U6 through U18, U19 for boys, and for girls, it is U6 through U12. Again, to learn more or to register for tryouts, head over to vardarsoccer.com to be part of the Vardar family today. As we dive now into Liverpool FC. And, Liverpool, which is obviously the international academy, but Liverpool FC obviously plays in the Premier League, the Champions League, right across in the EPL. This is part of the same family, right? They have created this unbelievable club here that's now, I believe, nationwide. Andy Wagstaff is in charge of the Liverpool IA here in Michigan. I think even in Canada as well. So, but Liverpool, they do a fantastic job. They were not around, Dan, when I was playing. And again, I'm a little younger than you, but I played around the same time periods as you did. So, but again, they're located out of Bloomfield Hills, I believe. They actually used to call their home over there at it is now United Wholesale Mortgage, right? But back in the day, what was it called, Dan?
Oh, you're talking about the soccer
Ultimate Soccer Arena, right? Yeah, that's what they used to call home, right? They don't call it home there anymore.
Their
but
office used to be up on the second floor there at the Ultimate, and they switched a couple years ago into an office space in Bloomfield Hills. But it's a growing club. I don't believe they were actually around in Michigan a decade ago. So everything that they've done has been really in the last 9-10 years.
No question about that. They've got a number of locations. They've got a location. This is their locations on their website, which is LFC International Academy MI.com. They've got 6 locations here throughout the state of Michigan. Their central location is at United Wholesale Mortgage, Wisner Stadium, and Brother Rice High School. Again, you can register for their teams by going to lfcinternationalacademy.com. Again, they've got 6 locations throughout the state of Michigan: Ann Arbor, North Oakland, Heartland, South Oakland, Windsor, and the Central. And again, Danny Price, I believe, just took over the Ann Arbor as director of coaching here just recently. Again, the tryouts for your Ann Arbor are U7 through U18 are taking place at Mitchell Field Center in Ann Arbor. Tryouts begin there at 8 a.m. here on Saturday. But again, to learn more about LFC International Academy, you want to head over to lfcinternationalacademy.mi.com to view. Just click on the homepage. Their tryouts are right there available on that page. Open houses are obviously taking place right now as we speak. Taking a look now at the Michigan Wolves. The Michigan Wolves, Dan, again, another, I talked about this when I was talking about Vardar. They're a team and a program, a club that we was always on an asterisk on our schedule when I was growing up. And I'm sure on some level that's an asterisk for a lot of players and a lot of teams as well. But they have their tryouts, obviously, this weekend as well. For them, their tryouts taking place here starting from 2006 to 2018. All of those taking place at the Trinity Health Sports Dome here on Saturday, June 8th and Saturday, June 9th. To learn more about their tryouts, you're going to head over to MichiganWolves.com. Dan, when you look at their website and they talk about their mission and their values, one of their missions is to prepare players for the next step in soccer and in life. And, winning is one of those ways, but also playing at the most and highest levels in competitive soccer is another way.
Yeah, and they've done that. I believe, like I said, I graduated in 1990. The Wolves were around back then. I think they began in the late 1970s, if I'm not mistaken. They're one of the original clubs in Michigan. So, for players growing up now that are involved in the program, or on the opposition side, the Wolves are always an asterisk because historically they've been one of the more successful clubs Michigan's ever seen.
And that they have, and they've won countless state cups and regional championships as well as national championships. So they've had a lot of success at all levels here in the great state of Michigan. Next up, Michigan Stars. Michigan Stars has been around now. They're relatively new to, the Michigan club circuit. They were formerly RSC, Rochester Soccer Club. I know that there's some merging in there, and I don't know all the specifics to that, but they've got a number of locations. But their open house is obviously this Monday through Friday as well. There's the Michigan Stars, there's the Lightning, and then there's the Revolution, all part of the same umbrella. And their tryouts begin here on Saturday and Sunday. Their Michigan Stars elite tryouts are taking place. Just looking at their schedule here on their website. Their tryout schedule is they're going to be at the Michigan Stars Sports Center on both Saturday and Sunday from 8:30 for starting at U13, 2006 all the way to 2013, both in the boys and girls side. And those, again, are taking place at the Michigan Stars Sports Center in Washington Township. To learn more, head over to mistars.com. That's mistars.com. You can register for tryouts right there on the homepage and check out where all their locations. And if you want to become a star, that's one way to do it, by registering there today. And last but not least, Dan, is Nationals. And Nationals is one of those programs and clubs here in the state of Michigan that is, in fact, if they're not the largest, they're pretty darn close to being the largest club in the state of Michigan. You're talking upwards of over 3,500 different kids, 16 locations across the great state of Michigan. And they are one of now 2 clubs here in the state of Michigan that have a youth club component along with a USL League 2 component. Midwest United is another one of those clubs. I don't know if AFC Ann Arbor is AFC Ann Arbor an actual youth club still here in the state of Michigan?
I don't believe they're attached.
I don't think that they are. So I think there's only 2 clubs here in Michigan that offer that component at that level. So you've got a USL League 2 team in Union FC Macomb, and which is now part of the Nationals family of teams, team games that we actually cover now on our network. And the Nationals, again, are one of, if not the largest club here in the state of Michigan. Their open houses are obviously Monday through Friday. Again, they've got 16 locations across the state of Michigan. You've got Blue Water, previously National St. Clair, Port Huron, Richmond, and other St. Clair County communities. You've got the capital area, which is in the greater Lansing area, Genesee, Fenton Township, Flitt, Grand Blake, Linden, and other Genesee County communities, Lapeer Select, Lapeer County, Michigan. You've got Livonia, which is girls in the Livonia area, Macomb, Shelby Township, Sterling Heights, Romeo, Washington Township, and other Macomb communities, Macomb Select, East Point, Fraser, Roseville, Sterling Heights, North Oakland Select, Brandon Township, Holly, Lake Orion, Oakland, Birmingham, Bloomfield Hills, Clarkston, Oakland Township, Oakland South Select, Clawson, Royal Oak, Tri-County, Bay City, Freeland. I mean, you've got Troy, Royal Oak, Berkeley, Madison Heights, UFC Troy Select, which is Madison Heights and Troy and Royal Oak. You've got the Union. You've got Warren. So that's a lot of locations, Dan.
Yeah, we've talked about some of the bigger clubs in Michigan here in the last half an hour, and that's kind of been the norm here in the last decade, where a lot of these larger clubs have spread their wings, so to speak. We'll just talk about the Nationals as 16 branches, and they're helping like smaller communities set up programs. Like, you don't have a club system in your community or a group of communities. They're one of those clubs that have been reaching out, helping set up programs, or if it is a club that it's kind of small, doesn't have a lot of student athletes involved, they're looking to grow, then a lot of these larger clubs are more than willing to, reach out and help these areas expand their wings, which, and again, we're looking at over 230 clubs now, Jonathan. It's amazing to think about how far this sport has come, and it continues to develop. I mean, each passing year, each passing decade gets stronger and stronger and stronger, more outlets, more areas. It's a great to see. I think back when I was a young kid, I started in 1978 in the Rochester Youth Soccer League. You know, it was dads showing up with clipboards wearing blue jeans.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of knowledge about soccer. Nowadays, all these clubs have people that are very, very well engraved in the soccer community in Michigan, just like in other states around the country where it's just developed and keeps developing. And, you know, we see that. We see that at the upper stages of the soccer pyramid when we cover games in high school and collegiate levels, some of the high levels of travel in youth soccer, some of the semi-pro, even professional leagues. You see that. You see the development, the hard work that's been put in literally in the last 40 to 50 years. We talked about earlier in the show, the Michigan Wolves started in the 1970s. Do you think that when they first started, they think that 50 years later there'd be 230-plus clubs in the state of Michigan, and we would see the level that we see today? I don't think that might not be the case. It's just amazing to see that soccer continues to grow at all levels across the state of Michigan.
Yeah, no question about that. To learn more about the Nationals and becoming part of the Nationals family, head over to nationalsoccer.com. That's nationalsoccer.com. Again, information has been rolling on your screen here throughout this entire show. But that, Dan, is our MSN tryout show. I want to thank everybody for tuning in here. If you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe button, like and share us with your friends and family. Come back for more as we continue to be the hub here for all things soccer in the state of Michigan.